In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got the fingers right this time.
You did.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Troy.
And I'm Nicole.
And we're them Swansons. Them damn Swansons.
Yep, them.
Would you like to recap?
Well, we talked about my mom last episode.
Your mama.
Yours.
Yours.
Because we going to talk about your mama this episode.
Bring it. My mama taller than your mama.
She was.
That's all I got.
Okay.
All right, go ahead with your recap. I'm sorry.
We said that Lee was quiet strength. And that's kind of how I live my life. So, yeah, that's what we said during last episode. Because I said a whole bunch of stuff that I probably should repeat again. So, let's just move on.
I think I should take recaps from now on.
Anyway, why don't you tell me about your mama? What you got? What's your first memory of your mother?
I don't have one.
Okay.
My memory's trash.
I know.
So a real...
Y'all, his memory's trash.
So
yeah.
A real memory that is not...
Something that was retold,
and from a picture from an album that was ingrained.
So it wasn't that the picture brought back a memory. It was just they told you the story from the picture. So that's what you took on?
Yes.
Okay.
So here you go. One of my memories is about education. We were at the house that my dad lives in now. Because my parents are divorced. There's only one shower in the house. And one tub is upstairs. I think they were already divorced. And one of my memories is I would sit in the bathroom while my mom was taking a shower. And because I was the kid that would run around the house. So when she's getting ready for work, I would sit next to her and sit my ass down. But by doing that, she always played AM KMOV or KMOX, whichever AM station had the news on in the morning. That's what we listened to. And there was some stuff happening in the world, but I remember her saying that you're going to be a diplomat when you grow up. And so she would have me sit on the toilet, and we would talk about the news. And we would talk about what's happening in the world, not necessarily in the city. And we would talk about what was in the world. And we would have conversations. And I actually remember having those conversations. But I remember her telling me that I was going to be a diplomat. Spell it. So that's how I remember it, because I had to spell diplomat. And the reason I remember it was because at some point I started stuttering. And the letters became difficult over time. At first, it wasn't as pronounced, but slowly it became frustrating to me. But that was some of the earlier memories that I remember having with my mom. Another memory is when I got my ass beat. So we lived on Market, and across the street, where the blue house is now, it didn't look like that.
Okay.
Another family lived there. And the family had a bunch of kids. And we would play. And I remember going out to the basement. We always had stuff. Hindsight, this was Sam's and Costco. Toilet paper.
We didn't have Costco back in the day.
So we had toilet paper. We had paper. We had all the stuff that you would need in your house on a normal basis was in our basement.
You weren't passing out your mama's stuff.
Girl.
Oh, not Darlene. You weren't passing out her stuff. No, you weren't.
All I remember is they came in the house, and this was when you didn't run in and out of the house. But the side door was open for me to come in and out of the house. But the side door only came in, and you had to go to like 4 to 5 steps, and you were right in the kitchen, and then I came back out. But I was only grabbing like water and stuff because, again, the hose was right there. Not hose, but water hose. And what ended up happening was they said, "Oh, y'all got toilet paper?" And I'm like, "Y'all ain't got none?" I was like, "No, we out. Take this." When I tell you that they came and got toilet paper, they got paper towels, they took some stuff. And next thing I know, I'm getting my ass beat.
As you should.
I didn't know I was a kid. How the hell? I thought I'm helping out the neighborhood.
Okay.
I did not know.
You should have told her you was being a diplomat.
Ooh.
I would have. And I'd have got beat again.
I wouldn't have quick with it then. I wouldn't have quick with it then.
Okay.
But yeah, so.
That's when they would have put out the wet rag on me. I would have got it. Because I would have.
But those were my early memories of Darlene. Like, I have no, like, I appreciate your memory. I wish I had.
You don't. You really don't. You really don't. It's both a blessing and a curse, and on most days it's a curse.
Okay.
Trust me.
But I don't necessarily have that. So when you say what are the early memories of Darlene, if it's not in a photo album and I can recall the picture and being told what's happening during that time, it's not a real memory.
See, with me, I can look at the picture and remember being there taking it.
No.
Wow.
No, not there.
Okay.
What else you got?
I don't know. I would just love to be able to experience that. And I know that sounds weird.
The memory?
Forget it. No, to forget it. And I know that sounds weird, but to have a memory to remember pretty much everything is not as good as people think it is, because then you do remember everything. You remember the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. And usually the bad memories play way longer than the good ones.
Agreed.
So yeah, I would switch with you.
Okay.
But we know that that's not possible, so let's move on.
Okay.
First day of school. Since you said education, does that ring a bell for you at all?
No.
Okay.
I remember graduating Gays Kitty Haven.
Okay.
Gays Kitty Haven, the graduation is mixed. Gays Kitty Haven was around the corner from the house, and that's where I went for pre-K and on, apparently.
Latchkey type situation.
Girl. So I remember graduating, and it was me, Hassani. I think his sister had already graduated, because she may have been older than us, maybe. I can't remember now. And there were a few other kids, but I remember being outside, going up the steps for this platform, and graduating and holding
your little certificate.
Yeah. And so I do remember that, but at that time, you're 4, maybe 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And so I remember that, but that's really about it when you're talking about early first days of school.
Okay. Let's fast forward to teenage Troy and mother conversations. When you realized that you weren't going to be a diplomat and she started having different conversations with you. Son, what were those like?
Son, use a hoe. No. Earlier conversations as we grow up was too soon.
It's too much?
No. Well, kind of. I was going to mention the Great Escape. That's too soon. That's a whole different thing. That's going to take a minute to dissect and emotionally be able to talk about that one.
Okay.
Nope. My eye don't hurt.
As we mentioned before, when Troy started talking about his mom, his eye twitches. Pray for him, y'all. Pray for him.
I don't know when it switched. I know I picked up music at a young age.
But that was a Papa Swanee thing, wasn't it?
It was, but it kind of took a detour in the house.
Okay.
So I never knew I could be a musician.
Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
But she started making plans for me without me knowing.
Because she's a mapper.
Yeah, so she started putting chess pieces. That's the other part that we realized is that by dissecting these episodes and prepping, we realized that Darlene said, "I love you," but Darlene showed you, "I love you" with a
well thought out plan.
a love and a sternness.
Yes.
There was no question where you stood with Darlene.
Ever.
There was no question that she loved you.
Right.
It was a question of how much of this love you was about to get. So, Mom was a different mom. She was what you would almost consider a TV mom. She got me up because by the time it was time for me to get up, my dad was already gone. Mm-hmm. Meaning that my dad was going to work already.
Not Darlene, it was June Cleaver.
Yes. So basically, she would wake me up because I would bathe at night, which allowed her to bathe in the morning. I would have breakfast downstairs. We would leave. By the time school was out, Gay's Kitty Haven would come get me, take me to the daycare. When I can't recall whoever picked me up. But somehow I was at home. We would do homework, and mostly my mom cooked dinner. And this was all the way till I was maybe teenage, until I was able to start cooking slowly for us. I wouldn't eat that shit today, but
I didn't even say nothing.
I can see you.
Oh, okay.
But I can still see you.
I'm just saying, we had dinner yesterday.
So, wow.
We have dinner every day.
So, she prepared dinner. She provided meals. She provided structure. She provided everything. But we realized that she had a plan. But her plan came from her father and her mother. Because Daddy, my grandfather, so I refer to Daddy as my grandfather and Mama as my grandmother. But Daddy had a plan for all his kids. He had 5 kids. He paid for all of their bachelor's degrees. Anything that you wanted past that, you had to provide for it. So he had a plan that you're going to get this. He only had an 8th grade education. But his wife, who had a 3rd grade education, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But Mama told Daddy that he needed to go get his GED because he needed it. So he was already out of the military by that point, but he went back to go get it because she told him to. And they pushed education to change because they lived in the South End. Mm-hmm. They lived during a time when that was some rough shit. Mm-hmm. And my memory...
I would like to point out that they had moved out of the neighborhood that we had moved into.
Yes. Like 2 blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
So Daddy grew up working at the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse wasn't ran by us. If you know what I mean, you understand what I mean. But there became a disdain for a group of people that was passed down from generation to generation to generation. But outside the house, it never showed. Inside the house, you could talk freely about how you felt. But I carried that same trauma from Daddy to my father that had a different experience because he joined the Marines. And there was some assholes to him. Like, he tells some good stories, but it's overshadowed by the harsh stories. And so I still have those inside me because once they realized that I was going into the military, it was a dump. Then they started telling me stories about Junior. And that became difficult. And so there was a lot of love that was shown, but me joining the military did not go with Darlene's plan for her son.
Right.
One of the, talking about memories, was the day I told her that she was about to become a grandmama.
How'd that go?
Didn't go well. We were driving down Missouri. She was headed to a Eugene B. Redmond's Writers Club. And we were driving down Missouri, which is 2 streets from where we live now. And we were crossing the railroad tracks. And it's weird that I have this particular memory.
It was traumatic.
We crossed maybe the first railroad tracks by Officer. We crossed the second. By the time we crossed the second, I had finished saying what I was going to say. She pulled the fuck over.
So right around where the gas station is now.
Maybe before it.
Okay.
But right as you go over that hump, get out. What you mean get out? One of the few times I remember her cussing. Get your ass out my car.
Because Darlene was a lady. She ain't cussing in front of you.
I'ma see you after my meeting. Granted, where I was going was literally 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. And we lived in East St. Louis.
Was it really that far? I mean, because where you told me they lived and where I see where she put you out.
Right. So I'm counting blocks, meaning because not the blocks when they're going this way, blocks when they start turning going that way.
Okay.
So if you count them going
the
short way or the long way, however you want to say it, it's
about 7.
Yeah. It took me less than 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
But the fact that we stopped on the busy street and did that, and I don't know my mother that way. My mother's not a yeller towards me. Mm-hmm. She was that time, which was foreign to me. And so when she walked...
You knew she meant business.
Boy. But when she walked in that house after getting me, what the fuck y'all doing? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and blamed it all on my dad. Mm. The whole thing she blamed on my dad. Mm. What y'all doing up in there? Fucking?
Well, you were.
So that's who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that side of her, and that made a pivot. And then I decided to join the military because college didn't pay. Mm-hmm. And so I had to make a grown-up decision. And so that's where that pivot came from. And that's where the aspect of me getting to know her differently also happened. So, and my memory is jaded. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know all the stories that Pops is telling now.
Right.
Because we didn't ask those questions during that time, but after you lose one parent, you start thinking differently that, hey, I need to get all this knowledge in case the other one passes, and there's no one to tell me the truth. Mm-hmm. Because there's some stories that are family secreted that we're not getting the answers to.
Right.
And we know someone knows these stories because we have different conversation. Keep on going. What else you got?
You messed up the map.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. That's what.
That map.
That's what she was saying. She was upset because she saw it going a different way. She had already planned it out, and you decided to step outside of that.
Maps only work with agreement.
I know. But she didn't ask you for your agreement.
She didn't. And I never wanted whatever that lifestyle was that she had for me. Because we had learned...
She was a socialite, and you were not.
I think it altered for me once I realized that I stuttered.
Okay.
Because I no longer liked reading in public.
Okay. Or speaking.
Yes. Yes. Speaking, not reading. I despise speaking in public. Because I stuttered. Which hindered me from, the teachers thought I wasn't smart. But math and science, I was kicking your ass. Because even in second grade, I was taking third and fourth grade math and science. Like, I would leave the room to walk down the hallway to take other math classes. And math in first and second grade was boring.
I
Like,
understand. I was the same on the other side.
Yeah, I'm like, you got to give me a challenge. And I do. I do remember cheating on a spelling test.
Wow. Did you get caught?
Yes, Miss Aldridge. Miss Aldridge at this time, she was the teacher that was so tall that I believe she had to duck to come inside of the classroom. And my dad tells me, yeah, she was that tall. But Miss Aldridge had to duck to come in, so she was really tall, small framed.
You tall and small frame. So she was tall and thin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she did not. So we would always go over the words on Thursday. Spelling test was on Friday. And this one particular time, I just didn't study. And so even though my dad would, my parents would help me with studying all the time. And this particular week, I ain't studied. So I wrote the words down. So when you look down to actually write, the words were right in my path, just underneath it. And she's given the words, and somehow she started looking at me. And I guess I wasn't paying attention to it. I can't cheat. That's probably why I have an issue lying now. And so I remember her coming up, saying my name.
Snatching your cheat sheet.
And she did the Hulk. She grabbed my desk and just boom, threw my desk. So I was on the second aisle in, and she just threw my desk, and I'm sitting there with no desk. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, and she made a mistake.
What she do?
She called my mama.
What happened?
My mama worked at the public aid office.
I know.
At this point,
You called me for my good government job to come down here.
This was in 83. And the only reason that I remember it's 83 because my years matched when I graduated, because I graduated in 92. So this was in 82, 83. And my mama came. Darlene cussed her smooth out in front of everybody. Because she wasn't expecting that. She basically said, don't you ever call me about my son messing up in your classroom. You the teacher. I'm the mama. I'm going to deal with it when he come home. Now, Troy, come here.
Because you done cussed her out. I know what I'm finna get. Because you done embarrassed her.
Teachers give 3 whoopings with a paddle. Parents ain't got them rules.
You mean 3 swings.
Yeah. Boy, she whooped my ass so bad. I came back in, sat down. I still ain't had no desk. She ain't pick it up. And that's one of my early memories of Darlene. So I knew I never wanted that again. So I ain't do that again. Which is probably why I have an issue with cheating and lying now. And my memory of it is because that's probably where it probably started.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I don't have the mental capacity to hold a lie for
Yeah, you can't
for
remember
long.
anything.
Right.
That's why my brother couldn't. The only time I got in trouble when I was a kid was when he was involved.
Yeah. I don't have the mental capacity anymore to hold a story that was not the truth, because if you ask me on Monday, I'm going to tell you, yes, the apples were yellow. You're going to ask me on Wednesday, yes, the apples were yellow. Then you ask me 2 months from now, no, they was red. What the hell you mean? I'm like, and then you going to look
I don't
at me.
even eat yellow apples.
And I'm going to be like,
right.
What you mean? Why you mad though? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so my childhood was weird.
Okay.
What else you got?
So you mentioned Darlene used to cook dinner and stuff. I don't know that of her.
Really? What you mean?
I mean, When we got married and we came back, she made us breakfast a few times. She'll take you out to get you something to eat, but she's not gonna cook it for you.
No. So as Darlene got older, she realized that she made a lot of money.
She ain't have to.
And she realized that her time
Was worth more than a home
was
cooked
worth
meal.
right. So we would have McDonald's, we would have Burger King, we would have, because we lived in Fairview at Winchester at this point. And so slowly she would cook. Maybe I was there Monday through Friday, and on Friday I left. So out of the 4 meals, she might cook 2.
Okay.
But for the most part, nah, we didn't have to.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that as a flex. It was just that was just who she was. It was easier for her to just do that because you remember at that point she ran public aid office.
Yeah.
And so she was in charge of the whole city. And at that point, I couldn't imagine the stress that she had in the 80s and
could not imagine.
And the 90s, dealing with a whole department and going up to Springfield, because I didn't realize that she was going to Springfield for meetings, because she would drop me off at school, then run to Springfield and come back and after band practice and then come get me. I never knew that until I was much older.
She was a bad chick.
She was.
Yeah.
And folks hated to see her coming whenever a supervisor left their building to go take leave. They would send her to the Belleville office. There was a few other offices that they would send her to for a couple of weeks. And they hated it.
No, I bet.
But their productivity during that time frame always went up, and they could never understand why, because she was the only black woman.
She was cracking that whip.
She was the only black woman in Illinois that ran a department.
Right.
And they had some who were on the state board, but there were a few in between. And so she was very well not liked. And so that seeped down into me. Like, she never said, they are da-da-da-da-da. No, but you heard it.
Yeah.
You saw it. You saw the tiredness some days, and you knew that you didn't want that. So she set an example early. So when I would call her in my military career and talk to her about some of the shit I was going through,
she knew.
she fuck them all.
Right. Right.
And she would help me navigate some of the issues that I had, and that's why I became a good counselor of soldiers, where eventually when I was able to be in charge, I started writing out my shit, because you can't dispute this pen. And that's how she got around a lot of her stuff.
Okay.
What you got?
Sounds like she was hard but fair.
I can go with that.
To you.
Yes.
Sounds like she was a good mom.
She was. Like, I never needed anything. Now, I may have wanted some stuff, but all my needs were met. Like, I didn't have that childhood that other people talk about that lived in East St. Louis. I didn't have that.
Because you didn't. You lived at Fairview Heights. Five out of the 7? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have that childhood that sparked differences, but I still had a childhood that produced a different type of struggle. And I knew what I did and didn't want to be from their examples.
Yeah.
And as early as going to camps and doing that and raising money and stuff like that, that was the stuff that we did. Like, Darlene bought me a Tandy computer from Radio Shack when it first came out. I was like in
Not the Tandy.
7th grade, and I think I was one of my only friends to have a computer, and it hooked up to your TV like your PlayStation does now as your monitor. No, this one you had to have the monitor that came with it. So I had a whole computer thing in my room and everything, and I'm learning how to
write code, because you had to back
right
then.
So you had to figure out how to do a square. You had to figure out how to do this. Then they had like
Well, What could you actually do on the thing?
Word process, and it had like a handful of games.
Okay.
But
Because, as you can see, we ain't have one. So I'm asking.
But what they did was they sent me to computer camp at SIU East St. Louis.
Okay.
And I took a summer class. I was in 7th grade. These was college students.
Okay.
Because they didn't necessarily have computer summer camp yet. They had a summer computer class, and I took the summer computer class with college kids.
Okay.
And so when I would go home, I didn't need a lab. I had my own computer. And so I was sitting there doing basically DOS, trying to figure out how to work the computer. So that's how they prepped me early.
Makes sense. Okay.
Like I said, she had a path.
Yeah.
I fucked that shit up.
With your wrecking ball.
I know. Literally. What else you got, baby?
So just the contrast between Lee and Darlene, man, there's no comparison for real.
They taught us different lessons.
Yes.
But they taught us what we wanted and didn't want at the same time.
Yes, they taught us basically the same stuff.
Yeah, just
as far as that goes, just differently. I remember when I left home, I went seeking what Darlene gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that I necessarily found it. I found some people that gave me what I was looking for, mentorship, and just that other side that I didn't necessarily get because my mother didn't work. But look at me, sitting over here just acting just like Lee.
She taught me a lot. She was great at what she did. We didn't necessarily get along as adults. Once I became an adult.
Because you messed up the plan.
I did. The relationship changed.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship changed, and once I got away, it was no longer the same.
Mm-hmm.
But we slowly
you got it back.
Came back.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to say that your mother had a way of
pissing people off.
That too, but telling you was raggedy without calling you raggedy.
Bruh.
She did. I loved it. I mean, you had to, because it's not like she was gonna change, but you knew
with poise and a smile,
right? You knew she thought you was raggedy, and she was getting you together, so it was cool. Like, okay, so how not to be?
And her memory was
raggedy.
Horrible because she had a hell of a memory. Is
how not to be raggedy. Taking notes.
Last story. I swear, I wrote my mama when I was in Japan, married to wife number 1. And I basically said, she told me this because she kept the letter. And I'm surprised we didn't find the letter when we were clearing out the house.
Yeah.
If I would have looked, it would have been in the box where Diane's stuff probably was. Because remember, Diane had a whole box that she kept of correspondence. So it was either in the file cabinet or in the box. But my mama done kept a letter that I wrote her doing wife number 1 where I said, you are too much in my life, and I need you to back off. You are causing problems within my relationship. That? Yes, I did.
Oh, what'd she say?
Wife number 1 got pregnant, and she showed up with her and Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed that letter. She didn't discuss it with me. When I wrote it, she said I wrote it a little bit before Imani was conceived. She never discussed the letter until she showed up and talked to me face to face.
Right.
Her and Miss Bonnie talked to me face to face about this, and then they showed me my flaws. When I tell you, hold on.
She read you.
Hold on. This is get good. Now, this is a long ass video. I apologize. When I tell you she showed me what a wife and a mother was supposed to be in a matter of 5 to 7 days that they were there, I was going to work, cooking, cleaning the house, doing laundry, and doing that other stuff. My wife at the time, hindsight, did some of it, but I guess I did most of it. When I tell you that her and Miss Bonnie came in and cleaned that whole house, did all the laundry, and I call myself cooking them breakfast because they my people, and they said, "No, baby, we got this." And to have your mama cook breakfast in your house,
Your mama that don't cook for real even.
and they did that, and now I saw what I didn't have.
And she knew which friend to bring.
So she fucked up my marriage because now I knew what was missing. Mm-hmm. And we had already, my first wife and I had already gone through some, fuck it. We went through some infidelity issues. I cheated first. Boom, go. But there was some this. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine said, you got to remember, revenge has no measurement and no timeline.
It doesn't.
And when she said it, I didn't understand until I started seeing glimpses of what I had done being present in my relationship. And I'm like, I was confused. This is shit I was doing. I was getting paid back time after time after time after time. But my mother showed me what a wife is supposed to be and what a house is supposed to look like. And that's when she left, I was confused.
Well, there you have it. Darlene was that chick. No matter what you say about her.
Even at the end, still love her.
Yeah.
I wanted to cuss her ass out, but I
Several
still love her.
times.
Still love her. She was stubborn
Had
as
to.
hell. At the end, she was stubborn as shit.
Yes.
Up until the point to where I actually got forceful with her and said, "This is what we're doing," and she backed off. And I can't tell you many times she's ever done that. But again, I've always been the child. Mm-hmm. But for her to finally say, "Okay, I got you," I'm like, and that's when I saw the switch in our relationship. But it was when she was sick.
Yeah.
What else she got? 'Cause this is long as fuck.
We can cut it there.
Okay.
Next up, Papa Swanee. That's my dude.
I'm Troy.
And I'm Nicole.
Stop. Like and subscribe. Do that thing. It's gonna show up somewhere here. Subscribe, like, share. Again, I'm Troy.
And I'm Nicole. And we're them Swansons.
Them damn Swansons.